Bitcoin is currently sitting at 51,800 United States dollars, and there's a lot of bearish and bullish posts circulating around X recently. So I just want to clear some things up. Yes, I am a long-term bullish man on the cryptocurrency and Bitcoin industry. However, I would like to put my bias aside and essentially compare the bullish and the bearish views and tell you where I think the Bitcoin price could go in the short term without shadowing my bias for the Bitcoin price in the long term. So, hello guys, my name is J1 General. Welcome back to another cryptocurrency video. If you like this type of content, make sure you hit that like button, make sure you hit that subscribe button, as it means oh so much to me. And if you are a fan of cryptocurrency, I have a cryptocurrency shop where you can shop cryptocurrency products. I'll leave a link in the description down below so you can get a good discount off your next purchase. Anything from a coin ticker to a cryptocurrency educational course to coins to jewelry, accessories, all of that good stuff. I'll leave a link in the description down below. So, where will we start with the video today? I want to start with some bullish narratives. I'm going to start with the bullish posts, then I'm going to finish it with the bearish posts, and then I'm going to give my overview on what I think is likely going to occur. So, at the moment, Bitcoin is currently at 51,800 US dollars. It has essentially been in an uptrend since November 22. So that is around 14 months. So 14 months in an uptrend. Yeah, and it's not just an uptrend, it is an uptrend that has occurred during QT, quantitative tightening. If you're not aware of what QT is when the Fed, the Federal Reserve, the governments, the Bank of England, all your governments around the world constrict the economy so that there is less circulating liquidity within the supply. Yeah, well, essentially they're just reducing their balance sheet. However, during this QT tightening, the Fed has increased rates by a lot, but the price of Bitcoin keeps going up. It seems as if that the price of Bitcoin is the safe haven for a lot of investors right now. Just like the stock market too, the stock market is hitting all-time high after all-time high every day after every day. But Bitcoin is striving higher and higher. Yeah. So a lot of individuals are calling for an all-time high before the halving, an all-time high just after the halving, an all-time high at the end of the year, or an all-time high in 2025. Though they all have valid points. Those who say that an all-time high will come at the end of the year and in 2025, they are most likely following previous cycles, following the narrative of previous cycles. However, those who are calling for an all-time high before the halving or an all-time high just after the halving, they are being very optimistic about the price of Bitcoin, and they have valid reason to so. The reason why, well, one of the reasons why they have valid reasons to believe that the Bitcoin price could achieve an all-time high just before or just after the halving is one, the halving, the narrative itself. The Bitcoin halving is what sparks the elusive, that is a narrative that sparks the elusive bull market. Yeah, so that is a narrative. Because after every halving, the supply of Bitcoin decreases by half when you go to mine it. Therefore, a supply shock sort of happens within the supply of Bitcoin. It becomes more scarce, and just simple economics, guys, demand and supply. If there's a demand and there's lower supply, it just therefore means that the price of the asset will increase. Basic business and economics knowledge for you right there. On the technical side of things, yeah, so I'm going to go through a narrative, a technical, and a macroeconomical. So we've gone through the narrative. The technical is because, and we all know this if you watch my channel or watch other individuals' channel, because they've probably mentioned this, is that Bitcoin has broken its elusive 618 golden pocket ratio. This 618 holds a lot of weight because if we take a look at past cycles, you'll be able to see that from the top of a previous cycle to the low of a previous cycle, this 618 indicator is what gets rejected but then blasts through. And once it blasts through the 618 and backtests it as support, then Bitcoin is well on its way into a new bull market and will 100%, has a 100% rate of creating an all-time high after doing so. If we compare the cycle before that as well, just for some clarity, and we extend this right here, you can see again that once the 618 is broken and backtested as support, then new all-time highs follow. 100% success rate. So if we take a look at this cycle, the 618 has definitely been breached and broken. Can it backtest it as support? And if it does, we should expect all-time highs. That's just a fact. So a lot of those individuals who believe that price can reach an all-time high before the halving, they have a point. They have a point. So we've gone through the charts on a statistical point of view. We've gone through the narrative. The last point I want to go through is a macroeconomical aspect, because even though we are in a QT environment, I just want to overlay this with the interest rates. And if we, whoops, not like that, set a new price scale. If we overlay the interest rates, ladies and gentlemen, we know that the Fed is not expected to cut rates until June, until the 12th of June. You can see right here that the market makers are probably predicting that a rate cut, the first rate cut, will not occur until June, the 12th of June. The next two rate cuts, so on 20th of March, the market makers are predicting a 91.5% pause. And in the Fed meeting after that on the 1st of May, the market makers again are probably predicting another pause. But the first rate cut will not occur until the 12th of June. Now, this is subject to change depending on what occurs within the economy. If the interest rates are too much to handle and the economy cracks, then you should expect the Fed to pivot sooner rather than later. But because of all the recent data coming in, with inflation coming in sticky and very hot, and unemployment still remaining very low, the Fed wants to keep interest rates higher for longer. Yeah, they'll just keep doing it until something cracks within the economy. So with that being said, why am I raising this as a bullish thing? Because if we take a look at last cycle, the Bitcoin price, when it went through its own QT bull market, yeah, just before the first rate cut, Bitcoin put in its mid-cycle top in 2019. Yeah, that was before the first rate cut. So it is very confluent that the Bitcoin price peaked as soon as the Fed cut rates for the first time. So if history repeats, I mean, there's not much merit to this because there's only one data point within Bitcoin's history of going through a QT phase. If history repeats where the Bitcoin price peaks out in that June meeting, then you'd have to suggest, and this is a month before, guys, don't forget, this is a month before the Fed cut for the first time, because the price peaked in June, but the first cut wasn't until July. So if the first cut isn't until June, then the price could peak in May, which is just after the Bitcoin halving. Yeah, it's in this area right here. So could Bitcoin make a run for it and peak on the first rate cut and align with an all-time high because of the narrative of the Bitcoin halving too? It could definitely do so. On the other hand, with interest rates, it is a very sticky situation because we're comparing it to just one data point, and the data point we're comparing to is a QT bull market. You'd have to say that from the lows of 2018 to the mid-cycle top in 2019, you'd have to call that a bull market because Bitcoin went up by 4x. I mean, if an asset goes up by 4x within a period of time, it's known as a bull market, right? So you could class this as a QT bull market, which is what we're currently in right now. We're in a QT bull market. This bull market right here was the legit bull market. That is the legit bull market when Bitcoin went to new all-time highs and there was mania, retail was in and everyone was going crazy. That's a legit bull market, and that legit bull market occurred during QE, quantitative easing. If we take a look at Bitcoin's past history, it's experienced QE its whole life, so therefore, you know, it's a QE bull market. This, on the other hand, was a QT bull market. 2019 was a QT bull market, sorry. And that's currently what we're in right now. Bitcoin is in a QT bull market. So last cycle, Bitcoin didn't put in a new all-time high, even though individuals believed it would, because it was in a QT bull market. That is what we're in right now. So that reasoning, that macroeconomical reasoning, doesn't have much merit to it. But if we go onto the bearish side of things, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to talk about something. I want to talk about the RSI, because this is a weekly chart, and on the weekly chart you can see that Bitcoin has confirmed a weekly bearish divergence. So you can see this divergence right here, this peak right here, and then you can also see this peak right here. This second peak is lower than the first peak, but this first peak coincides with the first peak here. And this second peak of the RSI, which is lower than the first peak, coincides with the peak we've recently just had, where Bitcoin put in a new yearly high. That's known as a bearish divergence, which means that momentum is slowing down within the market, even though price is artificially getting pumped. This could be invalid if the Bitcoin price keeps going up. Then that means the RSI will keep going up, which would invalidate the bearish divergence. But if Bitcoin starts to slow down in any way, shape or form, then this bearish divergence would stand and it would have some merit, which is a warning sign. Yeah. Another warning that I want to show you guys is the liquidity. And this is on a weekly time frame. So if we take a look, we can see that the majority of the clusters of the liquidity lie around 52.8, 52.9k. I'm of the opinion that the Bitcoin price could go to 53.5k and clear out all this liquidity one last time before making a downtrend. Now, I'll come back to more of this, but if we take a look at the 6 month, this 6 month liquidity, and there's some warning signs out there because Bitcoin has run rampant recently. And you can see that with the recent price action, Bitcoin has taken out the majority of the liquidity, leaving just a small smother around 53k. If we take a look underneath us, you can see that there is a lot of liquidity. One of that being, there's just a lot. Just above 40k, we have liquidity at 34k, around 8.65 billion, which is insane. And you have a lot of liquidity around at 26k. Now, I'm not saying that the price of Bitcoin will go to 26k. However, you'd have to think if this is cryptocurrency, guys. You need to understand that anything can happen at any time. Just look at the pandemic when Bitcoin dropped 60% or so in just a matter of hours. The same thing can occur. Just because we've been in an uptrend for 14 months straight, I believe a lot of individuals have forgotten what a downtrend feels like. So do not be surprised if Bitcoin does visit these prices again one day just to grab the liquidity. We've taken the majority of it on the upside, and a massive build-up has occurred on the downside. So that's just another warning that I wanted to provide you guys. Another thing is the bull market support band. If we take a look at the Bitcoin price, Bitcoin has not touched its bull market support band, and it has continuously not done so, and it has been 18 weeks since. It has been 18 weeks since the Bitcoin price has alluded to its bull market support band, which is currently ranging between 40.6k and 41.1k. 18 weeks is a long time. Yeah. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I just want to compare two cycles. So if we look at the cycle in 2016, 2017, etc., you can vividly see that the Bitcoin price back tested its bull market support band several times. Right here, right here, 2 times right here, right here, right here, right here again, and then it finally reached a peak and then broke down into its bear market. So you could see that in the bull market 2 cycles ago, the Bitcoin price kept holding its bull market support band as support. If we take a look at last cycle, once we broke through and back tested it right here in September of 2020, that was it. It was off to the races, and the Bitcoin price did not retest its bull market support band. Yeah. The reason why that's significant is because if the Bitcoin price does not backtest its bull market support band for such a long time, once it finally comes back to it, or once the bull market support band finally catches up with the price, it is more than likely that the Bitcoin price will not hold as support. So the Bitcoin price would essentially break through and not backtest its support. Whereas if the Bitcoin price holds the bull market support band as support ever so often, that's essentially more of a healthy market structure, because you hold it, major peak, and then you finally break through. Whereas last cycle, we held it as support once, it was off to the races, did not come back to it at least once, but when the price finally came back to it, it just melted down. So could the same thing occur where, because we haven't held the bull market support band for such a long time, by the time we actually come back to it, because the bull market support band just keeps going up and up and up, guys, like it's currently at 40 to 41k. So by the time it catches up to it, which could be in a couple of weeks from now or in a month from now, will it backtest it as support and hold as support, or will it just rip through? The longer the Bitcoin price waits for it to backtest it as support, the more of a chance it just breaks through, and that's it. It doesn't hold it as support. So where do I see the Bitcoin price coming in the short term? Long term, I said I'm bullish. Long term, I expect all-time highs. But in the short term, I do see Bitcoin making a new yearly high before the halving. I do expect it to hit that 53.5k level to just grab that liquidity. From then on, it depends on the momentum. Again, we spoke about that when talking about the RSI. It depends on the momentum. If there's still momentum there and it breaks that bearish divergence, then I do believe Bitcoin can go higher. If Bitcoin can grab that 53.5k liquidity and it just stagnates there for quite a while, and the bearish divergence is confirmed, and the economy starts showing signs of weakness, there's just small cracks in the market, the S&P is slowing down, then I do believe that Bitcoin will come back down to the downside, grab that liquidity that it built up on for such a long time, and not essentially hold its bull market support band as support like it done so in 2021. So that's just my views on the market in the short term. We just have to wait and see, wait for some confirmation. It's all up in the air right now. There's a lot of bullish narratives, a lot of bearish narratives, but that's how the game is played. So that's it from me, guys. I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, smash that thumbs up, smash that subscribe button, and as always, it's been your boy J1 General. Thank you and goodbye.